In this week's Piano Drop, we'll be featuring Glad Cafe Lockdown Piano by Joe Smillie, the science fiction-inspired Synth Orchestra by Andrew Reeds, Riffle by Martin Russ, Rob's Strummable Dulcimer Piano by Rob Azelstein, and Cuatro Puertoriqueno by John Sepulveda. Glad Cafe Lockdown Piano by Joe Smillie. The Glad Cafe is a cafe, bar, restaurant, arts hub and music venue in the south side of Glasgow. We opened the place almost 10 years ago now, and I like to think that we're one of the most respected music venues of our size in the country. The piano hasn't been tuned during lockdown, but I've been enjoying the chance of having a little play on it while our premises have been empty, and took the chance to sample it using Piano Book's MVP template. Hope you enjoy playing this one. The Synth Orchestra by Andrew Reeds. The Synth Orchestra is my 2-month experimental project. I'm still hesitant over the results, but I finally decided to just get it out there. I took the EQ profiles of orchestral instruments and tried to recreate it with a synthesizer to give a sort of science fiction-ish tone to it. I've compiled some of my best samples into one sample library, and I hope you like it. Expression and dynamics are controlled by velocity to enable two-hand playing. Riffle by Martin Russ. Hidden in the depths of the on-off scrape samplers that I submitted previously were some sounds that were reminiscent of riffling through a pack of cards. A nice pleasant sound that evokes after-dinner cards, a roaring fire, convivial atmosphere and all that. Unfortunately, that isn't how this project turned out. Something very, very nasty got into my decent sampler, and what I ended up with was something out of your worst nightmares, or a monster from a sci-fi film, or deepest, darkest anime. Riffle 1 is my first attempt at peeking out from behind the city with a sound effects instrument. You play these sounds in a darkened room at your own risk. Rob's Strummable Dulcimer Piano by Rob Azelstein. I always like to visit music stores in small towns. They're owner-operated, which means that the items on sale are personally selected by the owners, and that can lead to some pretty interesting finds. I recently came across the Seagull M4 Strummable Dulcimer made by the Godin Company. This instrument caught my eye because it is so different than any other stringed instrument I'd ever seen. It's made from a single piece of wood that has 4 strings tuned 1, 5, 4, the top 2 1 strings in octaves, and has excluded some frets to allow anyone to be able to play it. Amazing. Cuatro Puertoriqueno by John Sepulveda. Inspired by the Spitfire Audio Labs Churango instrument, I decided to sample a Cuatro Puertoriqueno that I had built from scratch. The Cuatro was made from Spanish cedar for the body and Yagrumo for the soundboard. The Cuatro is a Puerto Rican instrument that is often used in Puerto Rican folk, jabaro, as well as Christmas music. I also made a pad using the Cuatro samples as source material and adding some reverb, modulation and delay to fill it out as a pad with some motion.